Hey there, Tamir from Fibonaccis-Traders.com here with the daily market recap, Wednesday, November 23rd. For those who don't know, it's Fibonacci day. 1, 1, 2, 3, Fibonacci sequence, Fibonacci International Day, SPY daily breaking up above the 400 level throughout 2022. 400 level acted as support and resistance, and also in November resistance, and today breaking up and above. Let's see if half day Friday and maybe next week we can get continuation towards this trend line, and this trend line will be a tough one for the bulls, because if we look left we can see this trend line acts as a major resistance for the lower highs since January of 2022. High, lower high, lower high to the penny, and now let's see if December bulls can retest and break up and above. If it does, we have the Fibonacci levels to the upside to help us identify potential support and resistance to the future. QQQ basically moving sideways in the past 2 weeks between the 280 and the 290 area. 281, very important level of support, as we can see, from resistance to support. Eyes on the Qs, maybe a close above the 293, we can get a true rally towards the 314, closing this gap here, because we know more than 80% of gaps will get filled throughout time. So a weekly close, maybe not this week but maybe next week, close above the 293, and we will get continuation to the upside during December. IWM 186 is the level to look at, because it's on the crossroads of this trend line here, which represents the higher lows, and this trend line here, which represents a longer time frame of lower highs. So the 186 helps us to identify this area. Let's see if IWM, the bulls of the IWM, can push price above this trend line here, and we can get continuation to the upside. We have also this trend line here, helps us to identify short-term higher highs, and we can continue inside this uptrend channel. Dow Jones, the strongest of them all, since October lows, 287 all the way to 342, managing to close above the 340 area. And let's see if during December going to 2023 we can get bull run towards this trend line, because if we look left we can see that trend lines are the true support and resistance area for price action, and this trend line goes all the way to March of 2020, from resistance to support, 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 resistance, resistance, and now all eyes on Dow Jones, bulls of the Dow Jones. Can we get continuation towards this trend line here? So follow price, use Fibonacci levels to manage the risk, and eyes on trend lines. VIX, continuation to the downside, breaking below this uptrend area, which helps us to identify the higher lows on the VIX, and now breaking down under towards the 1940. Below that, 1660 is the next support that we need to look at on the VIX. Now, if we look left on this area, the 1660, we can see that once price hits this area, many cases we have uptrend and a bounce on the VIX. So once 1660 getting hit, manage your risk. If you're a long position, doesn't matter on which name, manage your risk properly, because once VIX hits this 1660, it will bounce. Natural gas hitting and getting rejected by this trend line here. Now it needs to hold above the 730. Failing to do so, we have the Fibonacci levels to help us identify support to the downside and maybe going all the way back, retesting this trend line here. NVDA continuing to be a very strong name, and as we identify this trend line, and this trend line is holding the higher lows, we had a doji off a trend line, as we said on Monday recap video. Doji off a trend line, we will get a bounce, and we got the bounce, closing the gap here and going all the way to this trend line. And let's see if we can get breaking up and above, and if we want support and resistance to the future, we take Fibonacci and it gives us support and resistance area for price action into the future. Check out two videos I made about trend lines and Fibonacci levels, how I use them and why trend lines and Fibonacci in combination with price action, we don't need any other indicators, because trend lines and Fibonacci levels are the true support and resistance area, not only for the past, also for the future. So check it out, let me know what you think. Microsoft, again, going all the way to the 250, 248 area and getting rejected. Looking left, very easy to identify support and resistance, resistance, resistance. This one tried and failed, and now again resistance. Once price will manage to close above the 250 area, we can assume that this trend line will get retested. Apple, as you can see, trend lines are the true support and resistance for price action. This trend line goes all the way to August 22, October 22, and now during November to the penny, one time after another, in combination with the 152 area. Let's see if price can close on Friday half day above this. If it does, 157 most probably will be next on Apple. Tesla, doji off a trend line, and we got a bounce. This trend line goes all the way to October 21, February, May, and now to the penny of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to the upside. But on the weekly, it's still early for Tesla to say that we have a trend reversal to the upside. We need another few days, maybe a close above the 200 to really say that we are in a trend reversal, at least on the short term, on Tesla. Bitcoin, after several attempts from the bears to break down the 15,500, bulls are coming into place and managing to stay far from this area and above the 16,500. Let's see, next test for the bulls will be the 17,500, and we can say that we have a potential double bottom on the Bitcoin of this area of the 15,500, but with all the FTX saga going around, and it's far from over, so be careful on the Bitcoin and manage your risk properly. IGV, Tech Software Sector ETF, very interesting ETF. I'm looking for a weekly close above the 268 area to go in for long position, and this is not recommendation to take any trading or investing. This is just educational videos. Long above the 268. If we want to learn Fibonacci and price action, wait for above 270. GDXJ, the gold mine, the junior gold mine ETF, breaking above the 35 area, 35 support, resistance, 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 now breaking up and above, and let's see continuation towards the 37 and maybe all the way to the 40 area. So tomorrow, Thanksgiving, market is closed. Happy Thanksgiving, and until the next video, stay safe.